I'm Sandie La Nae. Welcome to Psychic Creations. We have an interesting show for you today. Today, I am my own guest and will be speaking about Valentine's Day facts. Doing research for today's show, all about Valentine's Day, the data discovered is very interesting on how this special day became so popular. It wasn't always about love and good feelings, and its origins were quite bloody before it morphed into the sweet, chocolatey, modern-day traditions. Following are intriguing facts I found in my research. The origin. There are quite a few theories about how Valentine's Day originated, and, just to confuse things even more, there have actually been 8 different Saint Valentines. One theory is that the day derives from Lupercalia, a raucous Roman festival on February 15th, where men stripped nude and paddled young maidens' tushies in hopes of upping their fertility. Yikes! Another theory is, while the Roman Emperor Claudius II was trying to bolster his army, he forbade young men to marry because, well, apparently single men make better soldiers. In the spirit of love, however, Bishop Valentine went against the emperor's wishes and performed secret weddings. Bishop Valentine was caught, and for his discretions, he was jailed and executed. While in jail, however, young couples would visit his cell and give him flowers and cards. He also wrote a note to the jailer's daughter, signing it, "From your Valentine." And for the bishop's disobedience, soon to become Saint Valentine, was executed on February 14th. Actually, to note, there have been multiple Saint Valentines throughout history, including one pope who only served for 40 days in 827 AD. In today's world, even though Valentine's Day doesn't get most of us off a day at work, it is still celebrated all around the world. In fact, it is the 3rd most celebrated day in the world after the annual Christmas holiday and New Year's Day celebrations. Valentine's cards. Americans send 141 million Valentine's Day cards each year. That's more than any other holiday except Christmas. And how sweet! Teachers receive the most Valentine's Day cards, followed by children, mothers, wives, and pets. Over 50% of all Valentine's Day cards are purchased in the 6 days prior to the holiday, making Valentine's Day a procrastinator's delight. There are over 180 million Valentine's Day cards sent around the world each year, according to the U.S. Census. The U.S. Greeting Card Association estimates that women purchase 85% of those cards. To go back in time, passing out Valentines is actually a 600-year-old tradition. The oldest record of a Valentine was a poem Charles, Duke of Orleans, then 21 years old, wrote to his wife when he was imprisoned in the Tower of London in 1415, which involves the tale of royal infighting, warfare, and incarceration. Charles grew up in the fractious French royal family. As the nephew of King Charles VI of France, also known as Charles the Mad, who was believed to be schizophrenic, he was caught in the crossfire between his father, Louis I, who presided over the House of Orleans, and his uncle's family, which oversaw the House of Burgundy in their fight for control of France. As battle after years-long battles dragged on between the rival factions, Charles was captured and imprisoned by the Burgundians in 1415. While held a prisoner in the Tower of London, he wrote this letter to his wife, a union of state rather than of the heart. His expression of love was more somber than the holiday greetings that we're usually accustomed to. The poem read, "My very gentle Valentine, since for me you were born too soon, and for I you were born too late, God forgives him who has estranged me from you for the whole year. I am already sick of love, my very gentle Valentine." Sadly, after being imprisoned for 25 years, Charles was never able to see his wife's reaction to the letter. She died sometime between 1430 and 1435, before reuniting with her husband or bearing any children. It wasn't until the 17th century did people start exchanging cards and letters, and Valentine's Day cards weren't mass-produced until the 1840s, when Esther Howland became the first manufacturer of Valentine's greeting cards. She became known as the Mother of the American Valentine for the artistry and sentiment of her designs. Before Howland commercialized them, American Valentines were less romantic and more comic. Her inspiration came from the thoughtful and sweet greeting cards that were circulating in England, and she decided to sell similar designs in the United States. They became super popular during the 1850s, which she then earned $100,000 annually, which is $2,541,320.17 in today's value. Chocolates and candy. It is customary to exchange something on Valentine's Day with a loved one, friends, and family. The most common gifts are the, as mentioned, Valentine's cards, chocolates and candy, flowers, and last on the list, jewelry. In addition to creating arguably the richest, creamiest, and sweetest chocolate on the market, Richard Cadbury introduced the first heart-shaped box of chocolates in 1868. Today, more than 36 million heart-shaped boxes of chocolates are sold each year. That's 58 million pounds of chocolate. Both men and women prefer the same kind of candy and prefer to receive chocolate over flowers, according to the National Confectioners Association. The survey also found that chocolate sales represent 75% or more of Valentine's Day candy purchases. There is a standout favorite in every box. According to the National Confectioners Association, caramels are the most popular flavor in chocolate boxes, followed by chocolate-covered nuts, chocolate-filled, cream-filled, and coconut. As a side note, in the 1800s, doctors used to prescribe chocolate to women who were pining for a lost love. Now again, according to the National Confectioners Association, around 65% of Americans believe that the packaging of Valentine's Day chocolates and candies should be red and pink. And speaking of candies, did you know that candy hearts were originally round medical lozenges? Yes. In 1847, Boston pharmacist Oliver Chase invented a machine that simplified the lozenge production process, resulting in the first candy-making machine. After identifying an opportunity to revolutionize the candy business, Chase shifted his focus to candy production with the round Necco wafers. Candy hearts were invented in 1866, and the words etched into the candy came about 15 years after the creation of the Necco wafers. Daniel Chase, Oliver Chase's brother, developed a way to press words into the candy lozenge with a felt roller pad and vegetable food coloring. These now titled Necco's Sweethearts, aka conversation candies, officially became heart-shaped, worded candies in 1902. Each box of conversation hearts has approximately 45 sayings, including true love, hug me, and you rock, with 10 new sayings added each year. You can personalize your own candy hearts too at several online sites. More than 8 billion conversation hearts are manufactured each year, enough candies to be stretched 20 times from Italy to Arizona, back and forth. And Necco starts making them the next day, after February 14th, to have enough in time for the next Valentine's Day. That's almost 100,000 pounds per day. But don't worry if you still have last year's box of candy hearts. They have a shelf life of 5 years. About 55% of Americans celebrate Valentine's Day and spend an estimated $18.2 billion a year, including more than $1.7 billion on candy alone. On average, men spend about $150 on Valentine's Day, and women usually spend $74. For those of you who just tuned in, I am my guest for today's program and am speaking about Valentine's Day facts. Flowers. Valentine's Day has been claimed to be #1 holiday for florists. Most of the flowers bought on Valentine's Day are purchased by men, 73% to be exact, while only 20% are women. 15% of women send themselves flowers on Valentine's Day, and women usually buy flowers for their mothers and daughters on this special day. Americans send more than 220 million roses each year, out of which approximately 110 million are red. So where do all of these flowers come from? 60% of American roses are produced in California, but on Valentine's Day, 90% of the flowers are imported from Colombia and Ecuador. In Bangkok, a dozen roses are sold at the rate of $487, and for one rose, $45 is charged. In Hong Kong, a dozen roses is sold for $205, and in Singapore, $148 is charged. In London, a dozen roses go for $96, and in Africa, you pay $90. The average cost for a dozen roses in America varies from about $10 to nearly $100, depending on where they're bought, what kind of roses you purchase, and how those roses are arranged. Each color of rose sent on Valentine's Day have some meaning, like the red rose means love and respect. The color pink says, I am having sweet thoughts about you. And white roses stand for purity and states, I am worthy of you. Also, the number of roses count. For instance, one rose stands for love at first sight. 12 roses say, I love you. 108 roses are recommended for a marriage proposal, and 999 of these beautiful flowers means we will always be together. Roses are the flowers of love, and the favorite flower of Venus, the Roman goddess, is the red rose, of course. The flower stands for strong romantic feelings, so it is no surprise they make up the most popular Valentine's Day bouquets. In regards to love, as many as 6 million couples will get engaged on February 14th. February is the second most popular month after December for proposals. Of course, the best piece of jewelry given is the engagement ring. But in second place for those giving jewelry on Valentine's Day is promise rings, friendship rings, followed by bracelets, necklaces, and lastly, earrings. Going back in time, in the 1300s, Valentine's Day officially became a holiday associated with love and romance. This holiday was Christianized and was celebrated in mid-February because many believed that birds started their mating season on February 14th, which is why doves are often associated with love. In 1537, England's King Henry VII officially declared February 14th the holiday of St. Valentine's as Valentine's Day. In medieval times, girls ate bizarre foods on February 14th as they believed that the sustenance would enable them to dream dreams of where they will meet their future spouse. Also in the Middle Ages, young men and women drew names from a bowl to see who would be their Valentine. They would wear this name pinned to their sleeves for 1 week for everyone to see. This is the origin of the expression, to wear your heart on your sleeve. Many believed the X symbol became synonymous with the kiss in medieval times. People who couldn't write their names signed in front of a witness with an X. The X was then kissed to show their sincerity. Every Valentine's Day, the Italian city of Verona, where Shakespeare's lovers, Romeo and Juliet, live, receives about 1,000 letters addressed to Juliet. In Victorian times, it was considered bad luck to sign a Valentine's Day card. In Finland, they spread the love a bit further than most of us do. Valentine's Day in Finland is called Friends' Day, and it's celebration of friendships as well as love. So they buy gifts and cards for their best friends too. Valentine's Day is celebrated differently around the world. Many Latin American countries know this holiday as the Day of Lovers or the Day of Love and Friendship. In Japan, it's customary for just the women to give confections to the men in their lives, with the quality of the chocolate indicating their true feelings. On March 14th, the men repay the favor by celebrating the increasingly popular White Day. Lace is commonly used on Valentine's Day decorations. It comes from the Latin lacere, which means to snare or to net, as in catching a person's heart. There are many symbols used on Valentine's Day, most commonly a heart, Cupid, and the bow and arrow. The heart shape wasn't always a romantic symbol. At one time, the heart was widely believed to be the human center of memory where feelings of love were recorded. However, we have French and Italian artists from the 14th century to thank for the heart symbol that we know and love today, as they were the first ones to start using the motif in their work. Cupid's bow and arrow aren't just for show. In Roman mythology, Cupid is the son of Venus, the goddess of love, and he's depicted with a bow and arrow to pierce hearts and cast a spell of love. It was once believed that if you saw a robin on Valentine's Day, you would marry a sailor. If a woman spotted a sparrow, then she would end up being happily married to a poor man. And if a girl saw a goldfinch, she would strike it lucky and marry a millionaire. Experiential gifts are on the rise. In 2019, 45% of consumers told the National Retail Federation they wanted an experience gift, which are tickets to a concert or other event, an outdoor activity, or a wonderful evening out. This gift option is particularly popular with millennials. 45% of the people ages 18 to 24 and 40% of people's ages 25 to 34 said they plan to give experiential gifts for their next Valentine's Day. Apparently, male contraceptive sales rise in February. Sales are almost 20% to 30% higher around Valentine's Day. And maybe not so surprisingly, more at-home pregnancy tests are sold in March than any other month. More Americans skip Valentine's Day than we realize. Whether it's because they're single or think the holiday is beyond cheesy, about 3 in 10 adults reported in a survey by the National Retail Federation say that they're not celebrating the Day of Love, though they may treat themselves to a small gift or a night out with friends and family. But if you're single, not by choice, then don't despair. You can celebrate Singles Awareness Day, SAD, instead. Meant as an alternative to Valentine's Day, the holiday is for single people to celebrate or to commiserate in their single status. Based on retail statistics, about 3% of pet owners will give gifts to their furry, feathered, or scaled family members on Valentine's Day. Thank you for watching Psychic Creations. And if you would like to be a guest speaker for our show, Psychic Creations, you can contact me at admin@sandypsychicstones.com. Please note that the content is metaphysical, paranormal, spiritual, and we have holistic health specialties, authors, and we talk about history. Thank you so much for watching Psychic Creations, and we'll see you next show.